It began with a dream, an untouched land of endless forests, rolling plains, and boundless opportunity. For centuries, the Americas were home to millions of indigenous people, thriving with rich cultures, advanced systems of trade, and profound spiritual beliefs. But this paradise was about to be invaded. In 1492, Christopher Columbus landed in the Bahamas, believing he'd found a route to Asia. Instead, he opened the door to European colonization. Waves of explorers arrived, claiming the New World for Spain, France, and England, while diseases like smallpox devastated native populations. What followed was a clash of civilizations unlike anything the world had seen. By the early 1600s, the English had carved out settlements along the Atlantic coast. Jamestown, founded in 1607, was their first permanent colony, a harsh experiment where hunger and conflict nearly wiped out the settlers. They only survived by cultivating a plant that would change the world: tobacco. Further north, the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth in 1620, seeking religious freedom. Their survival, famously aided by the Wampanoag people, became the foundation of Thanksgiving. Yet peace with native tribes rarely lasted. Expansion brought violence, displacement, and the near destruction of indigenous ways of life. As the colonies grew, so did their differences. New England became a hub of trade and Puritan ideals, while the South relied on agriculture, powered by enslaved Africans. By the 1700s, slavery was deeply entrenched, especially on southern plantations, where human lives became commodities in a brutal economy. The colonies were flourishing, but they were restless under British rule. Taxation without representation sparked outrage. In 1773, the Boston Tea Party saw colonists dressed as Mohawk warriors dump tea into the harbor, a bold act of defiance. King George III was furious. By 1775, tensions exploded into war. The American Revolution began at Lexington and Concord with the shot heard round the world. Ragtag militias faced the might of the British Empire. At first, it seemed hopeless, but under the leadership of George Washington, the Continental Army defied the odds. In 1776, the Declaration of Independence, written by Thomas Jefferson, boldly proclaimed that all men are created equal. But this promise rang hollow for enslaved people, Native Americans, and women. Still, the document became a symbol of hope and resistance, inspiring revolutions worldwide. The war dragged on for 8 grueling years. The turning point came in 1781 at Yorktown, where French allies helped Washington secure a decisive victory. 2 years later, the Treaty of Paris formally recognized the United States as an independent nation. But independence was only the beginning. The young republic faced chaos. The Articles of Confederation, America's first government, were too weak. States bickered, the economy floundered, and rebellions broke out. In 1787, delegates met in Philadelphia to draft a new constitution, creating a stronger federal system with checks and balances. George Washington became the first president in 1789, setting the tone for a nation built on democratic ideals. But even as the U.S. expanded, new conflicts brewed. The Louisiana Purchase in 1803 doubled the country's size, but it also raised questions about slavery in the new territories. The 19th century was an era of rapid change. Industrialization transformed the North, while the South clung to its agrarian, slave-based economy. Tensions over slavery reached a boiling point. By 1860, Abraham Lincoln's election pushed Southern states to secede, forming the Confederacy. In 1861, the Civil War erupted, the deadliest conflict in American history. The Union fought to preserve the nation, while the Confederacy fought to maintain its way of life, built on slavery. After 4 bloody years and over 600,000 deaths, the Union emerged victorious and slavery was abolished. But the end of the war was not the end of the struggle. Reconstruction attempted to rebuild the South and integrate freed African Americans into society, but it faced fierce resistance. Segregation, racism, and violence persisted for decades, casting a long shadow over America's ideals. As the 20th century dawned, the U.S. rose to global prominence. Waves of immigrants arrived, chasing the promise of the American dream. Cities boomed, industries thrived, and the country expanded westward. often at the expense of native peoples who were forced onto reservations. The U.S. weathered crises like the Great Depression, emerging as a superpower during World War II. In 1945, the country led the Allies to victory, but the use of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki revealed a darker side to its power. The Cold War soon followed, pitting the U.S. against the Soviet Union in a battle of ideologies. At home, America grappled with its contradictions. The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s, led by figures like Martin Luther King Jr., fought to end segregation and secure equality for Black Americans. Landmark achievements like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 marked progress, but the struggle for racial justice continues today. Meanwhile, the U.S. was reshaping the world. From landing on the moon in 1969 to its involvement in conflicts like Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan, America's role as a global leader came with both triumphs and controversies. Its power and influence remain unmatched, but so do its challenges. Today, America stands as a beacon of hope and a land of contradictions. Its history is a story of resilience, revolution, and reinvention. A nation built on ideals that it hasn't always lived up to, but one that continues to strive for a more perfect union. The history of America is far from over. It's a story still being written, shaped by its people and their unwavering pursuit of liberty, equality, and justice. And no matter how divided or challenged, the idea of America, a land of endless possibilities, remains as powerful as ever.